Hey, what's up guys, Drug for Dave here. So I got a great question from the great Art Loft in the Nomad Sculpt group. And I just wanted to share the question and my answer because I think maybe it could be useful. Even just knowing how an artist comes up with and creates artwork might be useful. I thought it was a great question. So I'm just going to read the question and then I'll just go over my answer. This is in the Facebook group, the Nomad Sculpt Facebook group. So he asked me, what sort of prep is involved for you? In the video, your methodology is precise. Are you working from a drawing or creating on the fly? Do you stick to a workflow you've developed? Sorry to pepper you with questions, but I need to know. So essentially, I posted the video of the little baby predator, the time lapse, which just shows me the edited version of me creating the character. I made this character for a Procreate class, so I did everything step by step very slowly. But then, as with all my 3D videos, I edit them together and it just looks smooth and flowy and nice. That's a great question. I might make a video of it. This is the video. Although I do creating in Nomad on the fly, like I do like to just sketch and just make up things as I go. I think that's really, really fun. It's more efficient when I've drawn the character idea out first. So as much as I like sketching in 3D, it is more efficient if I want to come up with a character, or if I want to do something. If I have it drawn out, then I don't have to think about creating the artwork or worrying about proportions or anything while I'm sculpting. When I'm sculpting, I can just concentrate on the sculpting and concentrate on making the shapes and creating the sculpt. When I'm sketching, I'm sort of just figuring out that sort of stuff too. How big do I want this arm? How big is the nose? How wide are the eyes? Things like that. But it's easier if I already have a drawing that I like. If I have something that I've worked out already on paper that I like, then it's just easy. I can just follow that blueprint and it's just way more efficient. I can just concentrate, okay, what shapes do I need to create these objects or these, the parts of the body? Because everything is just simple shapes altered a little bit or a lot. I've drawn the character idea out first. So I drew this little baby predator out first. I made a Skillshare class about it, drawing characters with symmetry. And this is the class that I actually made that I just posted today on September 15th, which is a drawing class in Procreate where I just use symmetry to create these characters. So that's how I come up with a lot of characters. That's how I came up with this little baby predator. Drawing with symmetry in Procreate. You can check out that class. And Procreate's actually having a 40% off sale right now. After doing the drawing for that class, I decided to be a nice segue to creating a 3D class using him. So I did the 2D class first, although I didn't post it, and then I decided to do the 3D class, making him, and I actually posted that first. So it was a little backwards. It's simple enough, being that all the elements, except for the back tentacle, are symmetrical. So one of the really cool things about Nomad Sculpt and about sculpting is you can just use the symmetry, and then you can create your character, and you don't have to flip everything, because you can just create one side of it and make sure that it looks good, and then you have a whole character. So that's just, it's easy in Procreate and it's easy in 3D. If I want to change something, if I want to make it asymmetrical, then I can just turn symmetry off and change it after the fact. Everything is symmetrical except for the back tentacle. Then I just break it all down to the most efficient shapes, which is the same thing that I do with 2D. You just want to break it down and just block everything out. And I find it, once I'm in the blocking mode, I can make anything in 3D. I can sculpt anything, because everything is just, okay, 2 cylinders on top of a box, on top of a sphere for the head, a cylinder for the neck. That's pretty much how I sculpt. I just think of everything in its purest form as a shape, and then I voxel mesh it all together, or I voxel mesh it in portions so that I can edit as I need, and then eventually I bring it all together, or I bring what I need together and I leave what can be separate. I've actually been doing this little trick where I'll make the body and then I make sort of skin folds, and then if it has like a little pudgy arm, the arm will be coming out of that, but it's actually a separate piece, because when you voxel merge it, everything is connected, and sometimes I like that separation. It makes a nice deep crease, whereas if you voxel merge it, then everything is fused together and you have to use the crease tool and create the crease. But sometimes it's hard to get like in the middle. Like it's hard to take the crease tool and get it deep enough. So sometimes I just keep them separate and I just use a skin fold like over here to sort of mask, and you would never know that the arm isn't connected. Colors and designs outside of the modeling are on the fly, and what I mean by that is the color of him, the skin textures or colors or freckles or whatever. All that stuff is just done having fun on the fly. So I don't really usually pre-plan that, like generally, but that's really just kind of having fun with it. But it was inspired by the Predator with the facial color freckles. So this was obviously once I finished it, I was like, this looks like Baby Predator. Let me just use his colors, his sort of beiges and greens. Play is super important in my workflow, just experimenting and having fun. And as I don't intend for these to be anything other than 3D illustrations, meaning I'm not trying to make these for games, I'm not trying to make these for movies or animation. That's not where I'm at yet. I just started doing 3D about a year and a half ago, fresh. So I'm not too worried about that. Like, I just want to make cool characters. I want to make cool looking things. That's all I'm really concentrating on right now. I'm not too worried about the poly count, but the more you get into it, the more kind of technical you get and you learn about the tools, you inevitably want to break things down to make it as small as possible because it's just more efficient that way. So I'm sort of learning backwards, but that's was more important to me. It was more important to me to be like, okay, can I use this program to make what I want to make? And now that I realize that I can, and I can make beyond what I ever thought that I would be making, now I'm like, oh, okay, great. So now when I'm using these tools, the next time I'm thinking, well, maybe I can just do this and it will cut the vertices count in half. Kind of like that, sort of thinking on that wavelength. I don't intend for these to be anything other than 3D illustrations. I don't have any pressure except that I want them to look as good as the Big Brother 3D apps. I study 3D artists' work on IG, on Instagram, who work in Blender, ZBrush, Maya, etc. And my goal is for my work to look the same. So I look at, there's amazing 3D artists. I think is it Gabriel Souza, I think, or Gabriel Suarez or Soez or something like that. But he has amazing 3D work. I study his work, like I look at his work, and I just look at everything from the colors he uses, from the shadows, how the light is hitting. I think Puff 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 is another one. I believe it's Puff Puff Puff. But I study her work. She has amazing 3D work. I think she works on Blender. And I study everything, the composition, the colors, how the colors work together, how the lights work with the colors, the setting, the backdrop, everything. A lot of things the big difference is, I'll go into the differences now. There's a few other, I can't remember the other account, but I will do a voiceover and I'll post it now too. There's another, Kamara Sketch, I think it is. I think that's a she, Kamara. And she has they have amazing work. I really love the 3D work and it's just amazing. So I look at the best. I look at these amazing, obviously 3D movies, things like that. The Sea Beast, Toothless, amazing 3D movies. I watch them, I studied them because I was never told that I can't do that with this program. So basically I can do that with this program. So as far as setbacks, the only setbacks, obviously fur, but this is, a much smaller mobile app. It's not, as big as the Big Brothers. So, I'm totally okay with that. I could play around and maybe add fur in Procreate and draw in fur and things like that. But I'm okay with that. Like, I can imagine that would be some serious power to be able to do all those individual strands and things like that. Obviously, we can't do animation. I'm okay with that. I love just like sculpting and using what I have to make something the best that it can be. Subsurface scattering, which is something that I can't wait to do, and that is subsurface scattering. You'll see like in movies and like when people have like light coming behind their head, and it's red. See how it's like that red glow? So you can probably see it with my hands too, in the dark. But that's subsurface scattering. That's the light underneath a surface. That's the light. That's the light spreading out underneath the surface. I can't wait till we're able to do that in Nomad Sculpt. That'll be with the update. I'm not sure when the update will be, but I'm looking forward to that. I think that also might help with some of the other things I noticed on the Big Brother apps. The shadows are not quite as black. They're almost like the shadows are like if it was a shadow like on skin or something, the shadow might be a little more like reddish, or I'm not really sure how to explain it. Maybe I can find something and show it. But sometimes Nomad, the shadows look a bit black, whereas I find that in other 3D artists that I like, their shadows are very colorful and vibrant, almost indicative of the ambient light and the ambient surfaces that are around, rather than being like a darker black, so to speak. Let's see. Lastly, I noticed other 3D applications don't have solely black shadows, what I was just saying. The shadows seem to be more reflective of color, ambient color. Could be a subsurface scatter thing too, maybe. I'm not really sure, but I'll try to find an example and show you what I mean. Almost as if the shadows are on multiply blend mode. Anyway, thanks for the question. So that was pretty much the question. I thought it was a great question. And like once again, you know, I like to sketch in Procreate, but I also like to just draw things out because then you just have a blueprint and you can just follow that. I want to do. There's a few other projects I want to do. I want to do the Red Bluster, which is Red from the Sea Beast on Netflix. I want to do this other little blue character from that animated series too, that 3D animated movie. I want to do that one as well. I think that'd be really fun. And shout out to I got it's really I love when I get added on Instagram by people that really work in the industry, like people that do these major 3D animated things. And actually, let me see if I can find her name so I can shout her out because I think it's really cool. And I just get really excited about that. Letitia Gillette Art, VizDev modeler, character modeling supervisor at Walt Disney Animation Studios. How awesome is that? She has amazing work. And I always like, it's so crazy to me when people add me that are like really like in the business. And I'm like, oh, that's like so cool that you like notice what I do. I'm just like Joe Blow, you know, just doing my 3D stuff. But it's really cool when like you get noticed by people enough that they want to like, you know, continue to look at your work. I think it's really awesome. And also the other person I was talking about, Gabriel Suarez. That's another one. Another artist that I really look up to is Ben Eblin Design. Shout out to him. Really amazing stuff. But yeah, I think that's about it. I just wanted to chat about that question because I thought it was good. Let me know if this was useful at all, or if there's anything that sparked your interest that you thought about while I was talking. Feel free to drop me a comment. I'd love to hear and I'd love to chat with you. Other than that, Instagram, Drug Free Dave, YouTube, Drug Free Dave, obviously we're here. Skillshare, also I have plenty of classes, 2D and 3D. And right now, it's September 15th. I think for the next couple days, they have 40% off Skillshare. So please click the link below. That's my Skillshare referral link. So I'll get a bump from that. Also, like and subscribe and comment. That'll boost my video and that'll help me out. I appreciate your support. All right, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video. I almost messed it up. Let me do it again. Keep drawing, keep sculpting. I'll see you all in the next video.